Hi everyone, and welcome to another podcast at the Wirral Theatre Festival. We're very, very lucky here. It's me and Craig.
Oh yeah, it's me. I'm Craig.
And we're very lucky. Our special guest today, we have got Alice Way.
Hi.
Hello.
So Alice is not from the Wirral, but has some very, very close links, don't you, Alice?
I do. I've lived in Liverpool for 7 years now, which is crazy.
Gosh. And obviously that's not an English accent, is it? So where do you originally hail
Very
from?
well spotted there. Very well spotted. Wow.
Doesn't miss a thing, Robert.
Like, are you a detective?
I should be.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Louisiana, Baton Rouge specifically, and I moved here in 2017. Yeah.
Fantastic. And what actually brought you over here originally then? What was the pull?
I moved
Wasn't
here.
the weather?
It wasn't. No. I was
Surprised.
I was telling Craig in the car that no, I was telling you in the car. So sorry.
Doesn't matter, we look alike.
Yeah.
Same person.
My first ever winter was 7 years ago, like ever. And so that was difficult.
You don't get winter in Louisiana?
It never moved on. It's
No.
been winter ever since.
Yeah, I know, seriously. I'm
7
still,
years of winter.
Yeah, each year I put on a new
like
layer.
Game of Thrones isn't set in England because when they say winter is coming, winter arrived a long time ago.
Yeah, it's just here. So oh man, we've already gone off on a tangent. I moved here for LIPA. So I got my acting degree from LIPA, and
Which, for those who don't know, is the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts, aka Paul McCartney's drama school, which I also went to as well. So we have something in common.
Yeah.
You have a fun time there?
yeah, I learned loads. Like
It's a great building, isn't it? There's so much history in the building.
yeah, it's
I love the big high ceilings.
yeah.
I love a good high ceiling.
The dramatic rehearsal rooms like really make you feel like I am an actor, and I will go out and I will rehearse in equally beautiful rehearsal rooms, and then you go out into the industry and you're like, oh no.
The back of a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Someone's shoe closet.
Yeah, you're like, my own living room.
But that's the thing, is that as actors, we'll go where we go and do what we need to do to get the job done.
Yes, we're very efficient.
Very resilient as well. But anyway, we've not just come to talk about where you come from, because obviously you've got a show on with us at the Wirral Theatre Festival.
Yes, I do.
And really, I suppose the first thing we should do is address partly the elephant in the room, because it's got an interesting title, hasn't it?
It does. It's so interesting. It was too interesting for the festival.
You've already been cancelled.
I've already been
You've
cancelled.
been banned.
Oh man, cancelled before I even had a chance. That's pretty good.
But you know what? It wasn't because we didn't like your title at all. I think it's a great title, but because we've got some family shows.
You can tell me.
We don't know if it would have fitted well on posters. So.
I wouldn't have been able to explain it to my little niece. What's this show about? It's not for you.
Yes.
It's not for you.
Yeah.
When you hit 13, maybe.
So, for this festival, it's called The Comedy with a Censored Title.
Because we censored it.
Because I had to. And I performed it, my show, a few times, like last year. And I'm very excited to perform the whole version of it for the Wirral Theatre Festival, because I've only ever done the 30-minute version. So I'm finishing up the show, and it's going to be an hour long for the August performance of it, which I'm so excited about. But so that means like people who have seen it in the past are going to want to see it, the longer version. And so I didn't want to give a lukewarm version of the name. I just thought, let's just slap the comedy with a censored title.
I mean, I've seen. You sent us a little clip of the show online. I watched some of it. Like, it's big out there characters, so the title's still gonna be big and out there, even if it's not the original one.
Yes.
And I think you did achieve it. I like the title. It makes people want to know. Well, what is it?
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to come and find out.
You're just gonna have to find out. I'll spill the beans.
So, what is the play about then? The comedy with the censored title. Give us the gist of it.
It's an autobiographical comedy about my upbringing in Louisiana, but specifically kind of around the education system as well. So in America, you've got the separation of church and state, which means that publicly funded schools aren't allowed to sort of have any kind of religious teachings or anything like that, like prayers in the beginning of the day.
Do that in France, I believe. So in France, because I do some work in schools in France, you're not allowed to mention anything religious, not even the country's religious, got to be religious neutral.
Yeah, and that's in theory.
It's tricky when you're teaching ancient Egyptians, though, because they're like, we're not sure what you can teach us. I'm like, well, I mean, religion was a massive part for them, or the ancient Greeks.
Mean even like in the past? Oh,
so
wait, that's a bit wild.
We had to be a little bit careful, just because we didn't want to get in trouble, and I do understand it. But then what do you think? Because also, tolerance is quite important, isn't it? So if you don't know about anything...
Yeah, but it was really... So, what do I think? I mean, yeah, it is important to learn about different cultures, and with different cultures come different religions, and I am so for that. The big issue in Louisiana is that the majority of the people in Louisiana want to deny the other religions that
is it quite
existed.
diehard?
Oh, yeah. And so that's what the show's about. It's about the diehardness of the conservatively lived people there. And so, for example, in my show, my biology teacher refuses to teach us any kind of actual bodily biology because she feels like that's not appropriate because God wouldn't want her to do that.
Yeah, you just rolled out of a bush like 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Stork delivery.
No, I was going to say, the stork. It would be a brown pelican in Louisiana. But yeah.
Through the bayou, or is that the wrong part of the world?
Oh, yeah, it's the bayou. Yeah. It's
In fact, you have gumbo, don't you? Louisiana's the gumbo place.
It is the gumbo place. It's also the place with New Orleans.
Yes.
And Mardi Gras.
Yes.
And
closest I've been was Disney. I stayed in the French Quarter.
Oh. So the French Quarter, for real, I'll just paint the picture for you. It's like Disney World, except it smells of vomit and fried food and
That could be Disney World.
Yeah, you know that part of Epcot where the adults can like drink the different alcohols of the world?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Okay.
Yeah. But
Sold.
Fun capital.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Sold.
great. See, that's the confusing thing about Louisiana is like you've got New Orleans and you've got Mardi Gras, which is this beautiful, like crazy,
very
fun, open, very gay, like
Yeah.
festival, and like everyone is just like absolutely being themselves and super accepted. And then you've got the polar opposite of that. You've got the like crazy conservative, like lead by shame and like guilt and like just dampening you as a person.
I mean, is it literally like, I'm just thinking of, because obviously I only know of the States what I see in like film stuff. It's like, if you had your top button undone, you'd be frowned at or something because you've shown a bit
it's
more
kind of
skin.
like that. It's kind
Right, okay.
It's that kind of energy.
It's more
but
everything
maybe
should be
different
shamed, not
examples.
celebrated.
Yes, exactly,
Right,
exactly.
okay,
But
yeah.
it's all through the guise of this very polite Southern charm.
So it's not rude, it's just we'll heavily hint at
It's
what
like,
you should change.
don't be mean. No, don't be that. Exactly. So that's where the whole separation of church and state thing gets difficult. If the teachers are like, any of those other religions out there are bad and the devil, and then they'll teach that. And so, yes, I'm all about acceptance, and but that's what the show really explores. And so all of the stories are real in my show. None of it is fictional.
I mean, obviously as actors, we do try and make characters as big as possible. Would you say any of the characters are exaggerated, or are they actually these people as close as you could remember them?
There's a mixed bag of that.
Yeah.
It depends on who
Theatre's
I'm
got to be
playing.
enjoyable,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Trust. It's definitely like a whirlwind. But yeah, some of the characters are like huge, but that's how it feels when you interact with them.
I suppose as a younger person at the time of the stories as well,
Yeah.
you kind of... People do seem bigger in different ways of personalities because
exactly.
you're looking at it through younger eyes, aren't you?
But other performances of other characters are extraordinarily subtle because they're like, it's so repressed and in deep within that character that like it only comes out in little tiny moments.
Do you feel like when you were re-exploring these characters from your past, that maybe you were trying to recontextualize what they meant? Now you're on the outside of it.
Yeah,
So you're like
absolutely.
exploring how they maybe got to
I suppose
these
it's almost
points.
therapeutic without thinking about it as therapy.
Yeah, I definitely...
Putting the world into context.
Well, it's like, it's me making sense of them because like the more I can understand these people, it's like the more I can forgive them and realize that they are just a product of what everyone's just
They're
a
stuck
product
in
of
their
their
machine,
environment.
aren't they?
Exactly.
Whereas you've been outside
And
seen
but
other
even
things.
when I was in it, I kind of knew I loved so many parts of my culture, but knew that I needed to also figure out what it was outside of it.
Something was missing.
Yeah.
But like when you're younger, you kind of like make people into characters, so it's easy for you to understand them. And then
Yeah.
obviously looking back and
It's
being
great.
like, oh my
You need
gosh,
to
like
look out. You might like it. Do you remember the Queen's nose? So there was this girl, and she envisaged every person as an animal. So if someone was like a really grumpy person, they'd be like a gorilla or a baboon or something. And then she had this magical 50 pence that she could make wishes with. And the whole story follows her and all these bird-like humans that help her or do her head. And like it was
Yeah.
It was probably a good and a bad show in the same vein, but yeah, it's one of my childhood things. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I got little vibes of that. I suppose one thing I always wonder about any play is like, why would anyone write this play? So what do you think was the need? Like, obviously you've told us the story a little bit now, and it sounds great, but why do you think a play? What made the inspiration come for that?
I think a lot of this show came from, okay, so I used to work in a bar, and a lot of people would be like, that's not a Liverpool accent, and ask me about America and stuff. And they would ask me really interesting questions, but they'd never let me answer the question. They would just stop me pretty much instantly. And like,
That's nice.
Yeah. They'd be like, oh, that's cool. Well, I've been to Florida once. And I was like, I don't want to hear about Florida, English man.
Yeah.
Thank you. I know you've been to Florida.
You still have that polite Louisiana tone when you said it, though. Or have you lost that?
No, see, my show is everything that I thought that I wanted to say, or all this like kind of pent up, like, just let me explain it, because a lot of people think they know America. They actually, that's why I think people find this show so interesting, is because it's an actual like day-to-day, very practical look into not only America but the South, which right now like cowboy boots and like cowboy hats are very popular. Like when I'm in Liverpool, yeah, like people are clubbing with and like wearing the things that I used to wear as a teen. And so I think not only will people find my show interesting to watch because it's set in America and you get to see America, but you get to see the South, which people are very fascinated with. But why a play? I think the sort of relationship that I have with the audience is the reason why it needs to be a play and not like a short film or anything like that, because the audience become the classroom. I'm the teacher.
Oh, fab. So is it interactive in the terms that they have to interact, or just they're interacting without realizing?
It's kind of, they're not realizing, but there's a few times where I'm like, where is this person? And I wait for a volunteer. Where are they? And that's really fun.
Hint.
Yeah, exactly. So it's immediate, but then they get to see me switch back and forth, and then the character Alice pops out and goes like, well, shit, that's why I thought that, I guess. And then quickly go back into the character. So it's almost like how I felt as a student in the classroom. I didn't have time to think like, let's think about that one comment and how that made me feel kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It all comes so quickly. You're like braided with it. So the audience feel how I did when I was in school. Ooh. Just the constant roll of this really confusing signals and lessons and morals.
And then I suppose as well, like, why should someone come and see your play? Because obviously we've got 16 plays on. What's the selling point for yours? Like, what do you want them? What could they expect to take away from the story? I mean, it sounds like they're gonna have a good night, regardless.
They're gonna have a really good night. They're gonna be just totally. The thing is, the show is like pure entertainment. It's so fun. It's really wacky. It's
They're going to be knackered from watching it.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've seen
from the
so
part
many.
that you sent over, it feels like it's relentless. Like it's
I want
hitting.
it to feel like a wave hitting you. There are some tender moments, but those are brief and very well thought out. So but it kind of just goes straight back into the whirlwind of this world that, people here I think can relate to as well, because we've all had like those kinds of interactions with people who have different mindsets than us.
Characters in their lives, don't they, that affect them for good or for bad.
Yeah,
I still remember we all have a favourite teacher and a worst teacher, but sometimes the worst teacher they weren't fun, but you know what? Actually, they looked out for me in different ways.
Yeah,
you know.
And there's my sexuality's in it because I'm a lesbian, and so like growing up in that environment was.
I assume that was frowned upon.
Well, the thing is, it was nowhere to be seen, and that is kind of a big part of my show, is the fact that I didn't know for a long time that I was gay, because I didn't know that women could be gay.
Didn't know what it was. Yeah.
And there's no one there.
Wait, women can be gay?
Well, I believe, someone might correct me on this, but I believe Queen Victoria didn't believe women could be homosexual. She believed male homosexuality
That sounds like
existed.
repression to me.
But she was like, I'm sure, I might have to research that, but I'm sure someone's told me that she didn't believe in lesbians, so it wasn't a crime because it didn't exist in her mind.
See, I love that loophole. She's actually an ally.
She might be.
That is ally behavior. So that's, what a queen.
I'm going to recontextualize her right now.
Yeah, she's like...
Sorry,
It's
Robbie,
not a
not for you,
crime.
but
Doesn't bother me. I'm very comfortable with who I am.
you get your time.
Absolutely.
That's so funny.
I suppose just to finish off, then everyone needs to know when and where to see it, because if they haven't already found out, like, that's quite important, isn't it?
Yes, that is important. So I'll be performing at the fantastic Wirral Theatre Festival in New Brighton at the Floral Pavilion on the 28th of August this year. So you can get your tickets on the Wirral Theatre Festival website.
We have links on it. So the Floral
okay.
Pavilion,
I shouldn't
they're selling directly because they've got their own box office. But we will have a link from your page on our site straight to their box office. And if anyone's really interested, it's actually on at 8:00.
Oh, thank you.
So
Yes.
it's 8 till 9:00. But if you really want to, there's some other performance shows in a similar genre. You've got Molly Farquhar doing her Hairy Bee at 6:00, and then I think Luke, as well, don't you? Who's doing an I Am Purple, which is another autobiographical one, at about 7:00 as well. So if you do like autobiographical pieces, there's 3 that kind of follow each other. You could have a real whirlwind.
Yeah.
But obviously this podcast is about Alice's, so definitely come and see Alice's.
Yes, the comedy with a censored title.
So thank you everyone for listening, and join us next time for another exciting episode of our podcast.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.